which is tax deductible. If the money dries up and I cannot get a loan to make payments, I will sell some metals to do so. Further, I locked in the value of my home with the mortgage earning me more wealth. If the metals go up 20% a year, I'm ahead. I do not understand the above statement, and he goes into something else, but I thought it was very unique the way that he had approached the possibility of using borrowed money to be able to make more money in the coins than you could sitting in a house, so to speak. And he asked me about the statement to pay down normal debts, and I answered him by saying, not everybody as sophisticated as you are, and that's not easy to figure out. It's a very sophisticated way of approaching things, but there are people out there listening to the program that might want to do something like that. And in this stage of the market, I'm not against it. I mean, normally, if this was 2000, 2003, I would have said no. But this is a roaring bull market, and the chances are that you could make a lot of money. And for people who don't have a lot of money, or people who have a lot of money and want to take more risk, that is the way to do it. Go ahead.
It takes a person that is disciplined to do that, and it depends on what's suitable for each. I get lots of questions regarding, using credit cards and, mortgages on their homes and everything. So, you always have to look to the worst-case scenario, too. Can you weather through a worst-case scenario? And have a plan. Don't go into something without planning, for 2 years or, what might happen to, change the program, so to speak. With the possibility of dollar devaluation and debt default occurring by year's end instead of when true deflation occurring in approximately 2 years, what would be the impact on gold and particularly silver prices, short and long term, if this scenario plays out?
Well, it will expedite the upside on metals. And, this should have happened a year ago. And because of that deleveraging, it put everything off for a little over a year. And now it's back. The deleveraging is over. The dollar's going down. And as I said earlier, I think there's a good chance it'll test the lows maybe during the summer. I mean, it's not far to fall. It's already fallen halfway from 89.5, say, to 71. That's about 8. It's about 9 points. 9 points. It's already down 55% from its high. And so for it to go from, say, 79 down to 71 wouldn't be any mean feat, but the ramifications are large for other nations and the interest rates and all the things I mentioned previously. And I think there's going to be disruption. And I also think that people are not going to, toward the end of the year, want to hold dollars. I think they'll want to hold their own currencies, and that's going to put a lot more pressure on the dollar. It could break before the year is out, down to 65 or 60. I mean, this was a choice, a conscious choice that was made by the powers behind government. What do? Do you save the dollar, or do you try to control the bond market and keep interest rates down as much as possible? And the Treasury, on the other hand, says they care about the dollar, which they don't. But the other step for the Treasury is they need higher interest rates to be able to attract money to buy Treasury securities. I mean, the shortfall this year is going to be probably $1.5 trillion just in Treasuries. I mean, there's not that much money out there. Foreigners already own, I think they own $2.4 trillion or $2.9 trillion already. I don't know that they're going to do that, like buy more. And so I think there's going to be big pressure. I'm absolutely convinced, unless something weird happens, gold and silver are on their way.
This question comes in and says, good afternoon. He suggests that the Illuminati believe that the legitimacy of China's regime is contingent on a robust economic expansion, and therein lies the potential for the Illuminati's downfall, for China's elite are reading in Global Asia an influential journal that China should be prepared to fight bloodless wars waged by evil forces like the U.S. Federal Reserve aimed at destroying China's economy. China is saying that the idea of a global community where all are one family sharing the same values is a myth sowed by the West. Bob, how quickly do you think China could adopt a new economic strategy? Would China have to revert to a 50% agrarian society, and if China cannot extract itself from an export-oriented society, then at some point will China have to bend to Illuminati's demands, and what do you suggest are the Illuminati's demands for China?
Well, I don't think people realize it, but through the centuries, all of the royal houses have all belonged to this black nobility. And I hear stories coming out of China of the royal families, which still exist, making deals with the communists who are in charge. I hear that they are still as powerful as they were many, many years ago. I'm talking hundreds of years ago, if not more. And so I don't know the exact configuration of their power. And will China, so to speak, bring them into power? I think probably they might. There's a good chance they might, because I don't think they want conflict. I think they want to stay in power. When you're in power, you don't want to leave it. And so I think they'll make a deal. I know you've never heard this from me before, but I believe that that this sort of thing is going on behind the scenes. So what is China going to do? Now, China's going to make a deal. And the people who run China. And they can't do it unilaterally. They can't do it by allowing their export markets to fail. I mean, they need export markets. I mean, they can't internalize everything. I mean, why are they spending $1.2 trillion on loans and easy loans to business, et cetera? And it's a stimulus package. They got problems. And they've had banking problems in the past, although they've had enough money to be able to clean most of it up. But the point is that China can't act on their own. They can't say, we're going to throw all our dollars in the market. They can't do things like that. You know, there had to be a deal at the beginning when they were allowed into WTO. And the deal was, yeah, you can make your currency cheap, but all the money you get in dollars, you got to buy treasuries with it. It goes without saying. There had to be a deal. And so there's a cost of doing business. And the cost of doing business is that they're going to have to take losses on some of the gains they made. What are those losses? Well, let's take the dollar right now. To me, I think the dollar can go from 80 to 40. They're looking at 50% losses. They just lost probably another 10%. So they're going to be out 60%, but that was the cost of penetrating the markets. And so it's a business cost. It's just like companies have lost leaders. They had to sacrifice